And we're delighted to have Stephen Carson with us. Stephen is the owner of Level Footing um, uh, Home Inspection, and he is his own entrepreneur and businessman. We are we're delighted that he's come to us also because he was interested in building a business directory. He and Monsignor Lofton at St. Teresa Little Flower wanted to build out a Catholic business directory to again kind of encourage that sense of broader Catholic community. And we were blessed to connect with him through Richard White, and together with Stephen's vision and energy, we're looking forward to building that out, and we're going to make an emphasis for that in the new year, so that through our website and through our mobile app, more and more folks will be able to access fellow Catholics in the business world and hopefully direct their business to them. So I asked Steve to give me a little bit of information about him, and for folks like me, the notion of navigating a minefield is a metaphor, but Stephen, as a Marine infantryman, actually did navigate not one but two unmarked minefields on his way to his career here in Charleston. So I look forward to hearing a little bit about that experience. Stephen's married to Marion, and together they have 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. And like all good Marines, he's goal-oriented and Christ-oriented. So without hearing from me any further, I'm delighted to introduce everybody to Steve Carson.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's blessed. I know I'm feeling pretty blessed today myself. So yeah, there was I had quite an adventure during my time in the Marine Corps, and I kind of wanted to briefly go over that because that is part
Steve,
of.
could I interrupt for just 1 second? Is it possible to turn up your volume a little bit?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me better now?
I think that's a little better. Everybody else?
Now at the hour of our death. Amen.
Okay. So yeah, that instance is part of my journey, I believe, into Catholicism. So I've only been Catholic for about 5 years. So I feel like I'm pretty fresh still. I'm still learning a lot of stuff. And growing up, my mom was Catholic and her parents were Catholic, but my dad was not. I guess he would be kind of agnostic. He didn't do the Christian thing or the church thing. And my mom wasn't an active Catholic either. So I never read the Bible, didn't know anything about it. And the only time I went to church was when my grandmother would take us to Christmas Mass, and that was really the only exposure I ever got. But, growing up and not experiencing that kind of thing outside of my house, I really didn't know anything about it. My grandmother, I have to give her a lot of credit for why I'm where I'm at today as well, because I think she had a lot of prayers for me. She used to pray the rosary every night, and again, not being Catholic, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know what it was, like, why do you keep counting these beads? Every night it was like repetition. She just kept praying the rosary every night. And over the years, when I got older, when I got to high school, she got in a really bad accident, and that it hindered her from living a normal life, and she ended up moving in with us. And I think that was the first time I actually got more exposure of Catholicism and going to church, because I was, at that point in my life, I was now her chauffeur, So I went to church with her every Sunday and made sure she got to communion, and she got to receive the readings every week. And but I still didn't know anything about it, you know. I still did my thing, hung out with my friends, and eventually I decided to join the Marine Corps. And when I was in Afghanistan, we were the first to arrive in country. And when we took over the Kandahar airport, there was a particular night that we got in a pretty big firefight. And the intel that we gathered a couple of days later had given us information that there was a supply chain coming, because they were planning on reprobing our lines the following week. So my unit had to put together an ambush patrol to try and take out the supply unit. And upon our start to the mission, we were being escorted by the Northern Alliance. And that made me feel a little secure, because at that point I got a nice sized tank in front of me that can help shield from any kind of gunfire, mortar fire, any kind of anything that's going to cause harm. You've got that nice big cover to keep you protected. Well, halfway through our patrol, they got called to another mission and they left us. And now we were stuck in the middle of nowhere. And once you're in the middle, there's only one way to go. So it was about completing the mission and having to come back and make it back home safe. And I'll say, coming across a situation like that, you're doing a whole lot of praying, and it doesn't matter how Christian you are. You have a come to Jesus moment at that time, And I think he was listening out for me, and he took my word, and he guided me from that day on, and that's what led me to the church. But after I got out of the Marine Corps, I was still lost. I didn't know where to go. All I knew was I had to make a change to better myself, because after coming across a serious experience, life's too short. You gotta make today that moment, because tomorrow might not be here. And I spent years checking out other churches and other Christian groups, and it all seemed fake to me. Like, it seemed like people were just over the top, like trying too hard to convince or persuade people to come and gather with them. And it kind of turned me off for a couple of years, and it put me in a dark place. I just felt lost, like not knowing where to go or what to do. And when I met my wife, and I found out she was Catholic, it brought back memories of my grandmother and all the times I took her to church. And I was like, I can kind of relate to this. This is something that I've experienced a handful of times growing up. This is, I could probably do this better than I could any other Christian group. And we would go to church from time to time. But a couple of years ago, what really spun things for me, it really opened my eyes, was my brother passed away. And he was a pretty troubled individual, and we always worried about him, thinking that it might, you never know when you get that phone call in the middle of the night, that something happened. And we spent years worrying about him and trying to get help, and and it's crazy how God works. Sometimes you say prayers and you don't get answers immediately. And I think the prayers I started doing, it took God a long time before he finally came back and said, okay, it's time to come be with me like you promised in Afghanistan. Because when my brother passed away, those last few weeks, he had finally started turning his life around. And I'll never forget sitting on my porch and just praying that, he was a good person. He had a lot of problems, but he was always there for other people. And that, if there was anything I could do to help him cross that barrier so that he could make it on the other side, then, God tell me what I need to do. And at that point, I just let go of I let go of my whole will, just, I don't know what the word is. I surrendered myself completely, I gave it all up to God. And a few weeks later, I started experiencing things that I'll never be able to explain. My wife and I, after he had passed away, we talked about having kids. And one night I had a dream, and it was just this light shining on me, and a voice talking, and it was a child telling me that hey, I'm here with grandma, and she said that I could come down and talk to you, and I just wanted you to know that I'm excited to be a part of your family. And then that was it. I woke up and I told my wife, like, I think you're pregnant. And she didn't believe me at first, and I told her, listening to the voice, it sounds like a boy, but I feel like we're gonna have a boy. And 2 weeks later, she tested positive, and we were pregnant. And 20 weeks after that, we found out through the ultrasound that it was a boy. And I'm not somebody that believes in ghosts or anything crazy, like supernatural things, but I do believe that God shows people what they need to see. And every person is different, and every individual has their own path to travel, and it's up to each person to be acceptant on what God's trying to show you. But there was just that particular year, there was just so many things that had happened to me. Aside from that, a few weeks after that, I woke up with a light shining in my face. I thought my wife cut the closet light on and forgot to turn it off, and it woke me up. And when I woke up, I saw this figure standing over me, almost angelic. It didn't say anything. I couldn't see a face. It was just this, I don't know, this figure. And I went back to sleep, and the next morning I woke up, I told my wife about it, and she said, we should probably get the house blessed. But aside from that, there were things like before these experiences, I tried to read the Bible one time. I couldn't understand a word of it. I didn't have a clue what I was reading. Like, who are these names? What does this mean? How can people read this stuff and believe it? And that year, I started reading it again, and it was like a light switch. Like, everything just started making sense. And I told my wife, like, I think I need to come to church, man. I need to go full circle and be committed. I made a promise a long time ago, and it's time for me to commit. And since I became Catholic, I can't tell you the amount of blessings that have been brought to me and my family. It seems like every day. And the more we get into it, the more we go to church, the more we pray, the more the blessings reveal themselves, and I think at this day and age, it's important that that Catholics continue guiding each other and helping each other out, because you never know. You never know what 2021 is going to be. And I am very appreciative of being part of this group and to see so many Catholics trying to grow their faith. And it's just amazing to me.
Well, that is a powerful witness, Steve. And
Yeah, that's fun.
incredibly moving. How has your faith kind of shaped the way you interact, with your kids, and you and your wife raise your kids in the church?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because when I finally came into the church and I could finally see the explanation, what it's all about, it changed. It completely changed my perspective on life and family. When we finally had our son, I was working another job, just the 9 to 5, just trying to make ends meet, trying to get bills paid. And before I got into home inspections, I was doing a lot of real estate, residential construction and stuff, mainly tile work. Before that, I was doing commercial diving. But when the economy crapped out, it was really hard to keep up that momentum. And I was trying to find a lot of, any job I could find, whatever I could do 9 to 5, just to make ends meet, to get the bills paid. And when the economy finally started picking up, when we had our first child, and I had just gotten into the church, it just hit me like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live to work. Like, now that we have a family, like, we really need to focus on family, and I need to figure out the best way I can make that happen, because I want to be there for my kids, and I want to make sure that they go to church and that they understand why they're going to church. It's bigger than just going through the motions. It's about understanding why you do what you do. And that's actually what led me into home inspections. I started this business so that I could have flexible hours and I could spend more time with my kids and give them the faith that I never got when I was that age.
I was a Sunday school teacher for many years at the cathedral, and unfortunately for me, too late. I realized I failed to convey that personal witness, that personal experience and encounter and embrace of Christ in my teaching. I spent more time just, doing what teachers normally do, is just kind of convey material. And, from your witness, your testimony, your relationship with Christ, has that helped you in kind of conveying that personal connection that you have, as opposed to just kind of the nuts and bolts of the faith that's easy to get into when you're learning about the Bible and the catechism?
Oh yeah. I find that the more I try to learn, the more I read. I try and find new and upcoming podcasts with more information. Like, I don't know, as soon as switch flipped in me, excuse me, it was like I felt like somebody who'd been traveling the desert for years, and I just had this thirst, like, man, I can't believe what I've been missing. And now I find myself that when I get too busy and I get too caught up in life, things get way out of whack. Things just get crazy and confusing, and I have to dial it back. I have to, when I get to that point in my life, I have to stop. I have to say, a rosary and refocus and put my focus back on him. And then, things just smooth back out. It's almost like you let go of your father's hand. Like, I can do this, I can walk on my own, and then you trip and fall, and then you ask for assistance and he picks you back up.
When you describe your experience in Afghanistan and the reality of how short and life is, and how our ultimate fate is beyond our control. I mean, your brother and sister Marines obviously come to that same realization, unlike so many of us who don't have to face that immediacy of our short life. What is it from that you learn that you feel like kind of gets in the way of all of us to find the will or the inspiration to flip that switch and get out of the desert?
I think I think you really have to just surrender yourself. I think nowadays too many people are very strong-willed, and they want to know and understand why and how, and you can't. Everything's a mystery, and it's we're God's children. It's about looking at it like a child, and understanding that you're never guaranteed tomorrow.
That is absolutely true. How did you meet your wife?
So we actually met in a rock band. We played music together, and we just had that connection.
And how do the two of you together strengthen each other's faith?
So any time that I see her struggling or she sees me struggling, we try to remind each other, like just say a few prayers, just take a step back from that situation, whatever you're doing, and just pray for a minute, and then come back to it. And we try to we really like watching that that channel Formed, and looking at different segments and shows on that station. There's a lot of information on there, but we try to do at least a few things in a week together, where we can try and strengthen each other's faith, and try to pray the rosary just about every morning we can, just so that you don't want to lose it.
It's a habit for sure. Was there anything about the church? I mean, there are lots of people, depending on their perspectives, there are, people who, consider themselves, conservative Catholics who have their beefs with the church. There are people who consider themselves liberal Catholics who have their beef with the church. Was there anything about, was there anything about that kind of affected your perception, or was that was just always the clear path to Christ?
It's just always seemed to be the clear path. Like, excuse me, the thing that I've seen before becoming Catholic and then becoming Catholic is that it's cut and dry. It is what it is. Everything's done for a reason. There's no, things aren't fluffed up and overdone. It's this is how it's done. It's a tradition. It's beautiful to see it in action.
How is I will always remember I worked for a wonderful soul. He passed away not too long ago. But who would say, it's very difficult to be a Christian in business these days. And that was some time ago. That was 40 years ago or something. So how do you find that kind of that interaction, between, and that sometimes friction between the world and the kingdom of God?
It is difficult. I try not to I try not to show myself too often on Facebook, just because of being a business owner and that friction that you get. Like, I need a home inspector right now, but that guy seems like he's like over the top with that Christian stuff. So I try not to advertise too much as far as my faith. I don't push it on people, but if it comes up, then I explain it to people, because I'm not here to convert anybody. I'm just here to be a witness. And sometimes, like I said earlier, everybody's got their own path that they have to travel, and it's up to them which road they decide to take. But if they're trying to find that road and they need help, then you know then sometimes they need that extra guidance to get them there. And actually, I named my company out of uh, out of a scripture from Psalms 143 to help remind myself every day I wake up and I put my uniform on. I put my logo is actually a lotus and square to remind me of St. Joseph, so that every time I get in my car, I need to say a few prayers because Christ got me where I'm at today.
Beautiful witness. I want to ask a zillion questions here. Let me just ask one other. I mean, if you were to, recall an interaction that you had with someone else where you just kind of offered your testimony and you helped guide them, as any examples come to mind that you feel comfortable sharing?
I'm trying to think. There were a few examples when I had first become Catholic. I had a couple of friends, and I think that they were getting close to wanting more, thirsting for more information and wanting to know. We ended up losing touch before I could continue helping them down that path. So I'm not really sure how things turned out for them.
Have you ever given up business because it just didn't feel right?
I've had a couple of times where I just wanted to throw my hands in the air, and moments like that, I use those as opportunities for penance. Like I'm having a really messed up day, and I'm just gonna give it up to you. Like it is what it is. I'm gonna fight through it, and I'm gonna do the best I can.
Well, all of this leads to your interest and real enthusiasm, and kind of you've really been the driving force for our efforts to build out a specific business directory page. Do you want to kind of talk about your vision for that and how you see that unfolding here?
Yeah. So a few years ago, I joined a business networking group, and I really enjoyed the format, how they had things laid out where you could find other businesses within the group, and depending on what you were looking for, you could just hit the search engine, type in a name, and find the business within that group. And this past year, Monsignor Lofton had come up to me and asked me if I knew. I'm trying to remember now what it was. This business. I think he was looking for a painter or something. I was like, I don't know. I don't know a painter that goes to church. And he was like, okay, you know. And a couple of weeks later, I had somebody else, one of our other parishioners, ask me if I knew an electrician that went to our parish. A couple of days after that, I had somebody looking for a plumber, and I'm like, man, you know, we should put together like some kind of directory if this many people are looking for trades or other businesses within our church. You know, we should probably put something together. And I was talking with Monsignor one day, and he had asked me again about another business. Do you know somebody that does this? Because I really need somebody to do this. And I told him, you know, like, I don't know anybody. It'd be cool if we had some kind of business page or something. We could like start putting names on there. So he tasked me to do that, to figure out a way to put some kind of website together so that other parishioners could find each other and use their businesses. You know, keep it in house and go with people that you know, go with people that you go to church with every day, and you know, give them business, because it's hard right now, especially everything going on, and they're wanting to shut churches down, and you know, they don't want people doing their Christian duties, and it makes it hard for business, and putting together something like this can help keep Catholics and other Christians strong, not just within their faith, but within their businesses as well. And I think it's an amazing opportunity to combine forces, because you're not just putting other Catholic businesses out there for everybody to see, but you're helping everybody grow their faith, you know, and I think it's really awesome once we get the wrinkles out and get everything ironed out, going onto the website to look for a business, and then finding out all the other stuff that's involved in Catholic professionals, you know.
Well, we're very grateful that you know, for your help and your willingness to be a leader in this effort for us and with us. So I can't thank you enough for your goodwill and your graciousness, and most importantly for your beautiful witness to Christ. I've been talking a lot here. I would throw it out to the group if there are any questions.
I enjoyed that, Stephen. I mean, there's lots of things I could ask questions about or comment on, but right here at the end, just this conversation about the directory. Frank, I guess it's a question for you and for Stephen. We've already got a number of people in Carolina Catholic professionals, and obviously they're here for a reason, more than just to be here as supporters of the Catholic faith, but they're also in business. I like the idea of having a directory that is through Carolina Catholic professionals, and maybe it's a combination of what Stephen's already started and what we're doing, and if we could combine those two, kind of create a directory that starts this process. And I like it going statewide. I mean, I know we call it Carolina Catholic Professionals. I like it throughout the state.
Well, I think absolutely. I think that is something that can be done. You know, we have been kind of building out that access. There are a couple of technical things that you know, made it an initial challenge for us to get it to work. But Russ Whitehead is on the call as well, and maybe you could talk a little bit about, you know, just the separate business page platform that we have with the website, and what will be our push after the first of the year to build out that business page.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you, Steve, for sharing with us this afternoon. The business page is up and running. It's on the Carolina Catholic Professionals website under business page. each member has the option to go in and join the business group. Once you join the business group in your own profile, your name will show up on the back of the page. It'll give your name, your business name, and contact information and what you do. So we've got so far about 14 people that are showing on that page, and it'll handle as many as join the group.
So a lot
I
of
think
it is
sending
really
out
just a
those
function.
instructions would be great, Frank.
Pardon?
I just said I think sending out a link to those instructions of what you're supposed to do would be helpful.
And that's going to be our membership push after the first of the year, is to combine those two outreach efforts, so that we'll get folks to sign on and then present themselves on the business page. And I should say too that Stephen has been gracious enough to give us his time on Sunday. He's going to record a couple of brief video clips that we're going to also use to kind of promote the business page and underscore his leadership and his testimony, as well as the value and benefit of having that for the community, but also having it as a place for businesses to let folks know about what they do. Are there any other questions? Stephen, anything else you wanted to kind of share, or?
Yeah, so part of the business page that I would like to add to it is people's as far as their information goes. I'd like to add whether or not they're a veteran or if they're Knights of Columbus, stuff like that, because I have had questions about those as well. Like, is it a veteran-owned business, or are they part of the Knights of Columbus, and stuff like that. That way, it can be more specific to that particular parishioner looking for a specific business. But I believe right now you can actually go in there and search by parish. If you type in the parish, you should pull up people within that parish that have businesses.
It's really just a process of education and and just getting more folks to sign up.
Yeah.
I may interject here is that if you click on the link of the business page now, the public profile sheet will come up, and it'll give you parish and any other notes that you care to add about yourself. So it's up to the individuals to go in and say, I'm a KOC, I'm a veteran, I'm with this parish. I'll give a discount to Catholic professionals. All that's there already. We just have to get them to sign up and modify their profile.
Stephen, I've got to ask one last question, and forgive me for not doing this before this, but so where are you from originally?
So originally I'm from Charleston, South Carolina.
All right, excellent. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at Stratford.
Okay, yeah. So, and where was your grandmother? What church did she go to?
So she was from James Island, and she went to, I can't remember the name of that church.
Nativity or Our Lady of Good Counsel or Blessed Sacrament?
I think it was right there off of Folly Road.
That's Nativity, but Our Lady, yeah. Okay, I'm on James Island. I go to Our Lady of Good Counsel, and during the summer, if I can't make it over out to Folly because of the traffic, I have to turn around and go to Nativity. That's great.
Well, are there any other questions?
Frank, if I may, a couple.
Certainly.
One is for Stephen. I'd love to hear more about your son, that we heard his beginnings, his name, and tell us a little bit more about him if you like.
So yeah, our first son, Christopher, I actually named him after my brother, and he's just from the minute I saw him, from the minute he was born, he just had this look in his eyes like he just understood the world, and it never changed. Even now, like he's one of the smartest kids I know. Like he asks questions about everything because he wants to know exactly why and what, and it's really amazing watching him grow. And we finally have him in the youth group right now, so he can learn more and become more apt about being a better Catholic, and it's amazing. I think he was like 2 or 3, if that, when he was trying to douse himself with holy water when we go into the into the church. You know, it was amazing to see how into life he is.
John, did you have a follow on there?
Actually,
How old is he now?
it's a different question, and I don't know if it belongs here, but I'd love to find out from Russ how to update that listing. I don't know if I'm if I'm even still a member in good standing, but I'd welcome the opportunity to be on that list on
Thank
the
you,
business
John.
page.
Frank will be glad to work on something to go out and notify everybody of the business page and how to update your profile so it shows on the business page. That'd be a wonderful opportunity. John, thank you for asking.
Thank you, Russ, for your work with it.
Well, thank you, John. And David, you did ask a relevant question here that I kind of brushed past. But Stephen, how old's your oldest son?
So my oldest son just turned 6 in August.
Oh my gosh, great age, keeps you busy.
Yeah.
You got a busy life ahead of you.
Yeah, my oldest is 6. My daughter just turned 4, and our third child just he is 2. He's like, yeah, he'll be 3 in April, and our newest addition just turned a year old. So.
Oh my.
Look.
Oh, that's great.
So,
It's a lot of fun looking back on. It's not always as much fun in the midst of.
That's true.
I'd second that.
Well, I do, unless there's anything else you'd like to share, Stephen, I do want to thank you for your time and again, your extraordinary and beautiful witness. That's what we came together to be about, to proclaim the gospel and the way we live our lives, and you proclaim it with great passion and a beautiful voice. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I want to thank everybody again for joining us for this. We're going to post this this video online so folks can go back to it and see it. As I said, our First Friday speaker in January is going to be actually on the second Friday, since the first is New Year's Day. So January 8th, Peter Blyer, who is who's a doctor and also the state director of the Catholic Medical Association, will be our speaker. And yes, we are going to be engaged in a membership push and an outreach effort for both Carolina Catholic Professionals membership after the first of the year, as well as the business directory. So we welcome any suggestions, ideas, and help in that effort. And again, thank you very much for joining us, and I wish you all a blessed day. God bless.
us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks all.